Hey all, welcome or welcome back. Today I have a very exciting topic, and that is Taskade automation / integrations with Gmail. That's right, with the most recent update to Taskade, we can now automate our email workflow and send and receive emails from Taskade. So, whether you're already a Taskade user or are just curious to know about some of the functionalities this task and project management tool provides, stick around and let's review how to set these automations up. So, even though we have reviewed how to create some automations in Taskade in previous videos, let's quickly recall how to do that or where to go within the application in order to create our automation. So, if I'm here inside my Progress Presso workspace, I have here 3 folders on the left side, and each of these folders has its own automations tab. So, for example, here in my personal folder, if I go to the automations tab, here I'll have an Add Automation button where I can create any automation that's available in Taskade and apply it to any of the projects within my personal folder. If I go to my blog folder, I see I also have an automations tab. And again, if I had projects within this folder, here is where I would go to create automations for these projects. So now that we know where to go within the application to create our automations, let's learn how to first add a task to a project based on a new email that we received in Gmail. And then later on, we're going to see how we can actually send an email from Task. So in order to automatically create a task within Taskade in one of your projects based on an email that you received in Gmail, we cannot have 2 ways how we can approach this. The first is to use a very simple automation and use the add task functionality within Taskade, and this gets the job done. However, you don't have a lot of flexibility and you cannot have to copy everything either from your email subject or the body of your email to a project or as a task, and that can get very chaotic, and I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. The second way is actually using Taskade's AI to kind of go through the email, synthesize or summarize the information within the body, and then create a task for you in one of your projects. And I've actually tried it, and it's a really cool feature, and I think it works great. And the second way, it's probably my favorite way of adding tasks automatically from a Gmail email. But let me show you both ways, and that way you can decide which one would be best for you. So to create our first straightforward automation, we're going to head to the Automations tab here in our personal folder. We're going to click on Add Automation. We're going to click here on Start from Scratch. If you're interested, you can actually click on these menus on the left side and see some of the other automations that are available within Taskade. But for now, I'm just going to click on Start from Scratch. And then we come to the screen where we can add our trigger. So basically, this will trigger our automation. And then we have also our steps. And you can just think about it as if this, then that, right? So if this happens or when this happens, then do this. That's why they kind of have these little 2 pointers or phrases here at the top. So to create our automation from Gmail, we're going to scroll down here and click on New Email. You're going to connect to your Gmail account. Here, I've already connected my personal Gmail account to Taskade. So all I need to do is actually select it from the drop-down list. And then I can click on the 3 dots and test the connection. This part is not necessary, but I like to just test it just to make sure everything's working as expected. And as you can see now, I see connection to Gmail successful. And really the only trigger at the moment that we have is a new email, right? So this automation will be triggered when a new email is received in my inbox. Next, I'm going to add the step. So what do I want to happen after I receive a new email in my Gmail inbox? And I want to create a task. So I'm going to click here on Add Task. Next, I can select the project where I want this task to be added to. I'm going to select my to-do list project. Here, if you have blocks within your project, if you have different sections where you want to throw this task into, you can select the block. And then we come to the content section. So what do we want to take from our email and copy over to Taskade as a task? Here, if we click here on the plus icon, we see that we have the sender's email, the receiver's email, the email subject, the email body, and an email snippet. So usually what I like to do is I like to include the email subject, then a semicolon or something to separate the text or the subject from the actual email body. And then you have the option to select whether you want to you want to place the task at the start of the block or the project or towards the end. For me, I usually leave this blank. I really don't mind where it gets placed. After I have all these options, I can simply click on Save Changes, and then I need to turn or activate my automation here with this toggle button. Now, I've already built one of these automations, so I'm not going to be saving this one. I'm going to click OK and go back, and I'm actually going to delete this one. But I will show you the one I have created already. As you can see, again, the trigger is receiving a new email in my Gmail inbox, and I'm adding a task to my to-do list, and I'm including the sender's email, the email subject, and the email body as part of the task. If I go over to the runs tab here at the top, I can see how many times this automation has actually run, and I see that it's run 6 times today. And let me show you actually what that kind of looks like in my project. So if I go to my project, you can see it gets very messy. Why? Because I'm including everything from the body of my email as a task. So for example, let me show you what one of the emails looks like. So for example, from the average fellow account, I sent this email to my personal account with the subject update project plan presentation version 3, and I included all these text within that email. And because I'm using only the add task functionality, which adds everything from your email into Taskade, you can see here that I'm getting the sender's address and name. I'm getting the subject of the email, and then I'm including everything from the body of the email. So again, this is going to get very messy, and it is not the best approach. But if you are used to getting short emails, or if you think that adding the whole body of the emails that you receive into Taskade is not going to be trouble for you, then you can use this process or this approach, and it should work just fine for you. But let me show you the second way to add a task from an email, and the way that I think it's better. So the second way to build this automation, and in my opinion, the better way, is to use the following. So I'm going to go back to the automations tab. Again, I've already built this automation, so I'm not going to go through it from the beginning, but you would start here in automation and start from scratch. But I'm going to open up the one that I've already created. So this one is going to be exactly the same as our previous automation. So your trigger is going to be a new email, and your application will be Gmail. And you're also going to have the same step to add a task at the end of your automation. The only difference with this will be this middle step that we're adding, and it's actually called Generate with AI. And you can add this middle step to your automation using this plus icon. As you can see, I can click here and select Generate with AI, and I would add an additional step. In this case, I don't need 2, I only need 1. So again, very similar to our first automation where we have a new email from Gmail as our trigger, and then we're ending with a add task functionality for Taskade, except we're adding this middle Generate with AI step. So what does this actually do? This is really cool. So here the action is we're generating an output with Taskade's AI, and we're giving it a prompt. So I'm asking Taskade AI to read the following. I'm adding here with the plus icon the email body. So I'm telling it from this new email, read the email, and then summarize the email under 200 characters. Again, I don't want this automation to create a task like the previous one where it adds the whole body of the email and then my project becomes a mess within Taskade. So I only want 200 characters and output the result as a single markdown checkbox. So again, if you recall on the previous automation, every kind of paragraph or line was added as a checkbox in our project, and I don't want that because it should be only one task per email. And this is what we're accomplishing by asking the to output the result as a single markdown checkbox. And really that's all there is, right? So we're giving the AI a prompt, and then here at the end, when we're adding the task, I'm including the email subject, and instead of adding the body of the email, just like in our previous automation, I only selected um, generate with AI result, meaning the output of this AI generation is going to be what gets added as my task in my final project. So again, using that same email that I showed you earlier, and let me actually open it up. So again, the subject of the email is update project plan presentation version 3. Body of the email is quite long, but really the main items was to update some slides on the presentation. And let's see what the AI or from Taskade actually pulled from that email. So if I go to my email summaries, this time this is where I'm storing the tasks from that automation. And as you can see here, I have a task from that email from the update project plan presentation version 3 subject, and the task is actually way more concise. I'm not including the whole body of the email, and this is actually a task that makes sense to me if I read it quickly. Okay, so the email was about updating a project plan, especially slide 7, slides 9, 11, and schedule a review call. And that's really, a very, very neat feature, because that's actually, it did a very good job summarizing that email that I showed you earlier into a single checkbox, single task that I can actually read, and it can help me just be more efficient as I screen my inbox or my new emails that I'm receiving. Okay, so we reviewed how to automatically add a new task to one of your projects based on a new email that you receive in your Gmail inbox. For these, we saw two ways to do it. One is using the straightforward add task functionality within Taskade, which really kind of takes the whole body of your email and puts it into your project. And the other one is the same automation, but we add a step in the middle to use Taskade's AI to kind of read the email, summarize it, and give you a more concise task within your project. And in my opinion, a more useful automation, that second approach. So now let's review our second automation, and that is how to send an email from Taskade every time I complete a task. So here in my email summaries project, I want to that every time that I complete or check one of these tasks, I want to automatically send an email to let me know that the task has been completed. So for that, I'm going to go back here into my personal folder. I'm going to go to my automations. Again, I've already built this automation, but if you haven't, you would go here to add automation and start from scratch. But I'll show you what the automation entails. It's very simple. Our trigger will be a Taskade action. In this case, it is a task completed. That is our trigger. Our project, I wanted to look into the email summaries project, and I wanted to look into the inbox block or the inbox section. And every time I complete a task within that project, within that block, I want to send an email. Again, you would need to connect your Gmail account. I've already done so. If I test the connection, I see the connection is successful. The action is to send an email to this email address, and I want the subject to be task completed, and then the task content, and this is the body of the email. And as you can see, I'm including here, hello, the following task has been completed, and here I'm adding the task content after it and a link to the task. So if this person has access to Taskade, or if I've given them access to my project, they can simply click on this link and it'll take them straight into the project itself. To add this little content or pieces, you can simply click on here on the plus icon, and you can add the task ID, task content, and the link. As you see here, I've already added that information. You can also choose to CC or BCC someone, and I haven't really gotten into this part yet, but you can also, if you want to edit this email in HTML format, and you know how to do that, then you can input that in this section right here. After that, I'm going to go ahead and save the changes. I'm going to go back to the project email summaries. and I'm going to go ahead and complete one of the tasks. And I do expect an email to be received in my inbox. I'm going to pause the video and I'll let you know once I receive that email. And here's the email that I received. And I actually did receive it almost instantaneously. I was just looking at the wrong inbox and I was wondering why I never received the email. But yeah, so here's the email, task completed, update project plan presentation. So again, I'm including the whole task in the subject. I may tweak this a little bit. I don't need the whole task to be in the subject if it's already in the body of the email. And here is a link that if I go ahead and click on it, it'll actually open up Taskade in the desktop version and take me to the project itself. So that is it. That is the Gmail automation functionality within Taskade. I really think it's a very neat feature, something that's very useful, and if it keeps developing and getting better, I think it's going to be very powerful as far as productivity goes. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you'll be using these automations, anything that I may have missed in the video, or any other constructive criticism that you may have for me. Always welcome. Leave that in the comments down below, and I'm looking forward to chat with any of you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.